Some women don't chase, and yet, they're never forgotten. Their silence lingers like a half-remembered dream, the kind a man wakes from with a strange ache in his chest, unable to explain why the room suddenly feels colder. It is in this quiet absence that the feminine power begins its work, not through force, not through persuasion, but through the echo she leaves behind. He would never admit this, not to his friends, not to the world, and certainly not to himself. But the moment she steps away, calmly, without malice, without pleading, and something hidden inside him stirs. A shadow he has spent years avoiding turns its head, and for the first time, he feels the pulse of a wound older than her, older than any relationship, older even than his conscious memory. A wound tied to rejection, to abandonment, to the early fractures in his attachment patterns. A wound that Jung would call the unfinished work of his own psyche. The archetypal woman in this story doesn't slam doors. She does not demand explanations, nor does she perform her worth like a desperate song. She simply steps back into her own space, carrying with her an aura of quiet knowing, the kind that unsettles a man precisely because he cannot categorize it. In her stillness, she becomes a mirror, reflecting back the parts of him he has avoided, the parts he projects onto her, the fears he disguises as indifference, the longing he pretends isn't there. And in the first few days of her silence, he tells himself a familiar narrative, that he is fine, that he is free, that nothing has shifted. But beneath the surface, beneath the performance of emotional control, the unconscious begins tightening its grip. The anima, the feminine aspect within him, awakens, whispering reminders of the connection he thought he could outrun. This inner voice is not romantic. It is psychological, pulling him toward realization, toward discomfort, toward truth. Her absence becomes the portal through which his suppressed emotions leak, back into awareness. He starts feeling the tension long before he understands it. The sudden distraction in the middle of his day, the irritation he can't explain, the hollow silence in places where her presence used to fill the room. These are not signs of missing a person, at least not in the superficial sense. They are symptoms of his ego losing the battle against a deeper truth. When she walked away, she unknowingly pulled back the projection he had placed on her, leaving him alone with himself, the very self he has never fully learned to sit with. A turning point emerges when he realizes that her absence is not a tactic. It is a boundary. And boundaries feel like abandonment to the man, who never learned how to hold himself. In that realization, he faces the first crack in his armor, the understanding that his reactions are not about her at all. They are about every moment he felt unseen, every time he was forced to grow a little too fast, every emotion he buried.